What up, this is your boy Field Coach Joe, and this week I'm continuing with stick figures on how to draw them more accurately. Yo, what up everybody? So for week 2 of Tuesday's tips, I'm continuing what I was talking about last week, which was drawing stick figures, where I went over just the basics, based off of How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way by John Buscema and Stan Lee. I believe it was Buscema who did that book with Stan Lee. Great book, by the way. Great starter book. I recommend anyone wanting to get into comics and storyboard should get it. Also touched on George Bridgman, Michael Hampton, Andrew Loomis. And this week, I want to continue on how to draw stick figures more accurately. So, basically what you need to do is, continuing on from last week, you want to start with a basic line. And what you want to do is you want to separate this line into 8 different spaces. Now the 8 spaces are technically the egg shape of the head for the figure. So these spaces are the shapes of the head, and you want to do heroic poses, but you can change it up. You can either be 8 heads tall, 7.5 heads tall. So I forgot to draw women figures. They're typically going to be shorter than the male figures, whether it's a standard human or a superhero. Now, what you want to do is you want to draw it in halves, right? So you start with the line, you half it where the waist will be, then you half it at the knees, and you half it where the navel will be, the top portion. And as you can see, I've labeled where the halves are. It's important to keep in mind certain landmarks of the body, because what this is going to allow you to do is to build on these stick figures when you want to come and add anatomical structures. But before you get to that point, you're actually going to start with basic shapes. But it's still good to know this stuff offhand so that you can get to the later drawings faster. Now, you don't want to start with trying to draw your figures accurately right off the bat. You want to keep it smooth and fun and loose in the beginning. So just get your poses down using the basic line for the spine, then drawing the head, the rib cage, and the pelvis, followed by the stick figure. You want to flow and you want to get the gesture down. Then what I recommend doing is going back over that line, separating it into 8 segments, just like we just previously spoke about. And what you do is you go and you find the landmarks on that line. So the line where the shoulders are, the waist, the kneecaps, you're going to find those, and then you're going to draw out an arc for how the limbs are going to move from that center line. And you try to match those up to your rough drawing as best as you can. Now in this example, what I did was I moved the leg out to try to find that shape. I fully extended the leg out because the foot's bending, or the lower leg is bending a different type of direction. What you can do is you can draw the entire leg, and then you can move the ankle back so that it's almost like you're adjusting action figures in space. And so once you get that down, then go and do another quick trace over, and what you end up having is a more accurate rendering of your stick figure. This is really good for storyboard art, more specifically for comic art, where your final figure drawing needs to be as accurately as possible. This is great for building on top of, because if you've got your proportions right with the stick figures, it's nothing to go and throw in the general shapes, and then on top of that, you can throw either your muscles, or you can just skip that part and just go straight to the clothing. So this is one reason why you want to be able to draw your stick figures accurately. The other reason that you want to be able to draw your stick figures accurately is because this kind of repetitious method can become muscle memory for you, and what you'll find is your stick figures, when you draw them off the top of your head, you'll naturally kind of get the proportions down the right way. But the big part of it is, when it comes to drawing comics or storyboards, for example, you really want to focus on world building. So when you're drawing perspectives and cityscapes and whatnot, you can actually draw out a grid where you can, let's say, mark off the height of a door or a window, and because you know how to draw your stick figures accurately, you can fit them in quite nicely within that grid pattern. So you can just seamlessly switch back and forth from drawing your figures to your background. So that's an awesome way, or an awesome reason, in my opinion, why you want to be able to draw your stick figures accurately. Eventually, it's great to be able to draw the figure, but if you want to get into world building, that's just what I like to call it, drawing comics and storyboards and even animation, right? These things can go a long way. And like I said before in the last video, being able to draw them accurately is still helpful for me when I'm trying to draw animations to this point today. So don't get too concerned about drawing it super accurately. Just draw just a rough layout of 8 different sections of the head. Find where your limbs line up, where your joints line up, and as of always, man, just sit back, have fun, and crack on. So thanks for tuning in. Check back with me next week, and have a great day. God bless.